With the impending launch of the Xiaomi Mi 10, it seems the competition in the 5G flagship space in India, it's heating up. Though the Mi 10's Indian launch has been pushed, I do have a unit here with me, and in today's video, let's see how the Mi 10 compares to the iQOO 3 that's already being sold in India. Figure out which 5G flagship actually offers the best bang for your buck. Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and if you do end up liking what you see in this video, please subscribe and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's now get started. Both phones have a real premium feel to them, and that's cause of the all-glass bells. Now, iQOO's got Gorilla Glass 6 for the back and Shark Sensation up for the front, while Xiaomi's gone with Gorilla Glass 5 for both the front and back. Now the Mi 10 is the taller of the two, but Xiaomi have managed to keep it slimmer despite packing in a higher capacity battery. It's even lighter, not by much though, just 208 grams compared to 215. That said, you don't really feel the heft on either phone given the weight is evenly spread. Now iQOO has gone for a rectangular camera bump and a gradient finish for their silver and black variants. It's all very 2020. We've seen it with multiple phones before, but the volcano orange, it looks really unique. It's got a matte orange finish with black speckles to it. It's a bold new look that I most definitely found attractive. The Mi 10 on the other hand, it's all elegance and class. It's got the classic Xiaomi camera placement with a subtle gradient pattern. The curves in the 3D glass are much more pronounced. With a curved screen up front that melts into the metal frame, the Mi 10 honestly reminds me of last year's flagship Samsung S series. Now the iQOO 3 does have some special features like a dedicated AI button and those monster touch buttons, which are basically side-mounted air triggers for gaming. But the Mi 10 has a secondary speaker located to the top edge of the phone. It's got that going for it. It's not the earpiece doubling as a speaker, but it's got a dedicated speaker. So at the end of the day, both phones, they are pretty well matched, and the design choices here, it's gonna boil down to personal preference. Now, I already mentioned the curved edges of the screen on the Mi 10, but that's not the only advantage it has over the iQOO 3. It's got the larger screen, 6.67 inches compared to 6.44. Both are AMOLED, but it's got the higher refresh rate, 90 Hz compared to 60 Hz. While both phones do have punch holes for their selfie cameras, the iQOO 3's punch hole, it is a little smaller. Other than that, these displays, they share a lot in common. They look gorgeous, they have support for HDR playback, and they have the same 180 Hz touch sampling rate. So touch response should be decent enough while gaming. Speaking of which, we have the same top-of-the-line Snapdragon 865 chip on both phones. Taking a look at the numbers, it looks like the iQOO 3 has an advantage here. Now, benchmark results are all fine and good, but what about real-life usage? Well, this is where the Mi 10 shines. The higher 90 Hz refresh rate coupled with the powerful Snapdragon 865 ensures that every user interface element, right from animations to scrolling through menus, it all feels very, buttery smooth. Not that the iQOO 3 is not smooth, it's just that the higher refresh rate on the Mi 10 makes everything feel a little more fluid. Both these phones, they run on Android 10 with their own custom interfaces or custom skins. iQOO's got iQOO UI, which is very similar to Vivo's FunTouch OS. The monster mode on it is worth a mention. It helps get the most out of the hardware. The Mi 10 runs on MIUI 11, and we've seen MIUI 11 a lot. It also comes with its own gaming mode, Game Turbo. Now, talking about gaming, both phones handled everything we threw at them with ease, and that's no surprise given the flagship internals. We tried PUBG at HD graphics settings, and the performance, it was top notch, right? Now, however, with games like Ace Force, where there is support for high refresh rates, the Mi 10 obviously has an advantage because more FPS is better, right? That being said, if you are a fan of battle royale games like PUBG or even Call of Duty, the iQOO 3's air triggers might interest you more. These buttons are customizable, and we can even change the pressure that's needed to activate them. Now, one thing worth mentioning is that we have two variants of the iQOO 3. The 4G variant comes with 8 gigs of RAM, 128 or 256 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage. The 5G variant, on the other hand, comes with 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of high-speed storage, the same one, UFS 3.1. The Mi 10 doesn't seem to have a 4G variant, at least not as of now. We get to choose between 8 and 12 gigs of RAM and 128 and 256 gigs of UFS 3.0 storage. When it comes to battery life, we've got a 4440 mAh battery on the iQOO 3. The Mi 10 has the higher capacity battery, 4780 mAh. Well, the Mi 10 does have the advantage here with an 8% higher capacity battery. It also has about a 4% larger display. The Mi 10, that's it, the Mi 10 still does have an edge, but the battery life should be close. When it comes to charging though, the difference is stark. The iQOO takes the lead here with a massive 55-watt charger. So 0 to 50, it just takes 15 minutes. The Mi 10 on the other hand, it's got a very respectable 30-watt charger, and that's quite fast too, 0 to 30 in 15 minutes. And add to it, the Mi 10 has fast wireless charging support on board. With its proprietary charger, of course, the Mi 10 can charge at up to 30 watts wirelessly, and that's just nuts, right? Wired and wireless charging at the same speeds. Anyway, and we also have support for reverse wireless charging. As for sun rays, both phones have in-display fingerprint scanners. The iQOO 3, it seems to be a tad faster. When it comes to audio, we have dual speakers on the Mi 10 and they sound absolutely fantastic. The iQOO 3 though, it has a headphone jack, something the Mi 10 lacks. It also has an extra AI button, which like the monster buttons we've already seen is also customizable. Now with that, it is time we talked cameras. Both phones have quad camera setups to the back. Starting with the primary, we've got Samsung's ISOCELL Bright HMX, a 108 megapixel sensor on the Mi 10 that's paired with an optically stabilized f1.7 lens. On the iQOO 3, we've got the popular 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 coupled with a f1.79 aperture lens. No OIS though. Pictures from both phones, they came out looking sharp with punchy colors, but when it came to detail, the Mi 10, it does have an edge. Zooming into this billboard, we can see how sharp the text is. When it comes to low light, we have a dedicated night mode on both phones, and here the Mi 10 really shines. It takes better looking pictures, there's more detail, there's less noise. The iQOO 3, it also has a greenish tint here on some images, so the Mi 10 is just flat out better for low light. Switching to ultra wide, both phones take 13 megapixel pictures, but the ones on the iQOO 3 this time, they have better detail. Additionally, the iQOO 3 also has autofocus. While the Mi 10 has a dedicated 2 megapixel macro camera, the iQOO 3 uses the same 13 megapixel ultra wide for macros. Surprisingly, the cropped in shots on the iQOO 3 actually do better than the dedicated macro camera. The colors are more vibrant, there's more detail, they're just better here. The iQOO 3 also has a 13 megapixel snapper that can do 2x optical zoom. It takes some nice looking shots, which the Mi 10 obviously cannot match because it does not have a telephoto sensor. Finally, when it comes to portraits, the Mi 10 seems to be applying some sort of smoothing effect even with all the beauty filters turned off. The iQOO 3 on the other hand takes crisp shots, good detail levels on the subject's face. Now switching over to selfies, and the 16 megapixel snapper on the iQOO 3 is gonna go toe to toe with the Mi 10 here. Both phones have a good amount of detail, but when it comes to portraits, the iQOO tends to overexpose the background more. As far as videos go, the Mi 10 has an ace up its sleeve. It can record 8K footage with its primary sensor, and thanks to OIS, the footage isn't very shaky either. The iQOO 3 can only do up to a maximum of 4K 60 FPS, and compared to the 4K footage on the Mi 10, it is shaky. So when it comes to photos from the primary camera, the Mi 10 does better, and even with videos it does better, but for portraits, wide angles and even macros, the iQOO 3 has an edge. Another area where the iQOO 3 should definitely have an edge is with the pricing. I say it should because we don't have official word on the Indian pricing of the Mi 10 yet, but taking into account the Chinese pricing, I expect the Mi 10 to start anywhere between 40 to 45,000 rupees. That would make it more expensive than the base iQOO 3. The 8128 gig of the iQOO 3 is priced at 37k. But there is a caveat here. If we are looking for a 5G phone, then the iQOO 3, it starts at 45,000 because it's got only one 5G variant, right? At that price, the Mi 10, it starts to look a bit more appealing because it's got that curved screen, 90Hz refresh, dual speakers, 8K video recording and 30-watt wireless charging going for it. However, 5G still has a long way to go before it can become mainstream. It can even become usable in India. So if you want the best price to performance, then the iQOO 3 at 37k is definitely the better deal. But if you want the flat out better phone here, then that's gotta be the Mi 10. If you can afford it, that's the one you should go for. So that's been it from my end. Now I want to know your opinions. Which of these two phones do you like more? The gaming focused iQOO 3 or the Xiaomi Mi 10? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this video and it is time for me to bid you adieu. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on what you felt about the video. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. And thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.